Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Giant Man, issue number 2 of 4. This is a War of Realms book. This is one of the created titles for the War of Realms. So it's not exactly a tie-in. It's created specifically for it's a companion book. So there's another story going on, and we get to see it. I enjoyed the art in this. Hugely disappointed with the story on more aspects than I could possibly cover, but I am going to try and cover them. That being said, no blame, no hate. Just, it is what it is. There were many avenues that this book could have gone in so much better. I was more excited for this Giant Man companion book than any of the other companion books for the War of the Realms, because this is such a great concept. Unfortunately, the application of that concept, utterly disappointing. Anyway, let's talk about who made the comic book. We'll talk about the comic book itself. We got part 2, A Few More Giant Men, written by Leah Williams, drawn by Marco Castiello, colors by Rachel Rosenberg, letters by VC's Joe Sabino. We've got Wu Chiol doing this cover, Marco Ciccecco doing the variant cover art. We start off in a really weird place. We didn't get an exact, we did get a quick blurb in the beginning, a very short paragraph about what's going on in the story, but not the intricate details of the story itself. So when we start off with somebody saying, okay, Eric, why are you choosing right now to tell us about your lack of higher education? Eric, the Atlas, says, I just wanted you guys to know that. Hup! And he starts climbing. And, Ant-Man's like, yeah, I feel stupid now too. Well, we'll feel dumber if we don't, if we die. Now, follow Eric's lead. Let's go. What the hell was that? What the hell just happened here? First off, the only thing this is accomplished is reminding me how silly the previous book ended on. I didn't like the way the previous issue ended. What the frig? You're reminding me of how bad that was? That's how you start off this book? I know that only 7% of Americans join the military. I know. I was one of those 7%. And I think that this was meant to be a joke. Operation Send in the Hounds, where the mission parameter seems to have changed. Operation Send in the Hounds, where the mission is apparently complete. Climbing a mountain is apparently completed, even though it looks like somebody just fell. How was that a completed mission? And then we move on to other mission parameters at one point, and I'm like looking through the book and I can't find the other. Here we go. Operation Thou Shalt Not Pass. Yeah, really great Lord of the Rings reference. Operation Frost Giant Frat Party Sleepover. I'm sorry. When I was in the military, when we used to do maneuvers, we would crack jokes like this. We would obviously know what the mission is, but we'd have subcontext to our missions, subparameters, checkpoints. You know what I'm saying? And we'd make jokes like Operation Try Not to Get, run over by the tank. Operation, crap, it's hot as hell out here. Operation, what the frig? Whatever. We'd have silly little things like that. But, those are things that you say. You don't use as titles or whatever. It just, that for me, that just didn't work. And maybe that's just a me being in the military thing. It just didn't work for me that way. Moving on from there, we don't know who any of these characters are. We know who Ant-Man is because he's still wearing the helmet with the little mastodon horns on there. But, one way that this book could have been better is, look, here's the 4 characters. But they don't look anything like this in the book. Not a single time, because they're all in disguise with the blue makeup and the accessories and stuff like that, Maybe a really good idea would have been to also have them up top here, another image of them, but in their disguise forms, so that we can actually see what they look like. So at any point we can look in this book and be like, oh, wait, who's talking right now? And then flip back to the beginning and be like, oh, okay, yeah, that's because, it was not clear who was talking in this book at any point in time, for the most part, unless they actually said somebody's name, and most of the times they did not. There is a clear lack of intimacy with these characters. Their motivations in the first place, all wrong. I'm sorry, we get to the end of this book, quick spoiler for the end of the book, when Scott Lang says that this is a suicide mission. You're just now telling me this? I'm sorry, I wasn't conscripted into this. I volunteered, but I didn't volunteer for a suicide pact. That's not cool. I like the idea that Eric realized it at some point. I like that. Scott Lang went and admitted it at the end that he knew. That's not cool. That's when you beat the living crap out of another human being. I didn't sign up to die. That's simply not something that I did. These characters, man. Atlas. All right? Atlas. When there was a part in here where he had to start a fire. When did he lose his powers? When did his powers completely change? Because I'm sorry. To the best of my understanding, I don't remember seeing, maybe this happened at some point in a Thunderbolts issue that I didn't read, but I don't ever remember his powers becoming so drastically weakened. This is a character who was actually the predecessor to Simon Williams' Wonder Man. He has an ionic body. He has the ability of growth to go with that, and his vast strength. He's a match for Simon Williams without growing. You know what I'm saying? He's OP when he grows. Yeah, man, this cat, like, he doesn't need to eat, drink, breathe. I understand he wanted to drink ale. I understand. You know what I'm saying? You want to get drunk or try to get drunk. That's cool. That's cool. I get it. But he's got life support. He doesn't feel heat or cold. He could actually, he could be in the rigors of space without effect. So why is he so cold here in what I guess is, frozen over Miami? Why is he so cold that he needs to start a fire? Him, of all the characters here. This is an intimate lack of knowledge of the characters. Sorry, I would not take on a contract or a comic book, a commitment to write a comic book about characters. I don't know who they are. I just simply wouldn't do that. I don't know what the reason is why Miss Williams chose to do this. I'd hate to think it's because she needed a paycheck. That sucks. We are in pretty crappy times right now where, yeah, you got to do whatever to survive practically, But like we're talking about your credibility from this point forward. If you don't understand the characters you're writing about, how do I know you understand any of the characters you're going to write about in the future? How does this not make me anything but trepidatious when I'm gonna, oh, look at this comic book. I wouldn't mind getting this. Oh, wait, Leah Williams is on this. I wonder if she even knows who these characters are. That's a rough thing, man. But more than that, there's just, I wouldn't call this basic. This is a higher complaint. Scott Lang, I believe it was Scott Lang, who said in here, according to the map, this is a good place to set up camp. No, it's not. If you just fought a battle here, then it is not a good place to set up a camp. That's no. I don't believe there's anybody dumb enough to think something like, I don't care how tired you are, you'll be dead tired in a matter of minutes when the reinforcements come. Because no, you're dumb if you camp where you just got finished having a battle. That's silly. It's not even like they're moving into somebody else's fortifications. No, this wasn't a military maneuver or anything like that. It was just horrible. Worse, he says, according to the map, there's only two directions for, enemies to come from. So we've got a bottleneck. We can bottleneck them. No, you can't. And you don't have to be in the military to know this. Scott Lang, why did I bring up that he's an engineer? Because the first two theories that you learn in engineering is Ohm's law and Kirchhoff's law. Kirchhoff's law very clearly explains what a bottleneck is and what flow is. So flow of water, you can use it for flow of air, and we absolutely use it for flow of electricity. And you can use it for so much more than that. So many more ideas than that. Case in point, flow of enemies. 2 points of entry is not a bottleneck. That is in no way, shape, or form a bottleneck. In fact, even 1 entry point is not necessarily a bottleneck. All right? If you to further drive this point home, take a bottle of water. You open up the cap, turn it upside down, the water chugs out, right? Because here's this big basin and this little tiny choke point, the bottleneck, right? Now, take a different bottle, fill it back up, refill it, whatever you got to do, and cut off enough of the top so that the bottom is equal to the top in diameter and radius, however you want to look at it. Turn it back over. Is there a single chug? There's not a single chug. Even if you close it and then turn it around, there is not going to be a single chug. There might be because, the rush of air going in like that. But turning it upside down, there will be no chugs. All right? Just none. Because it is no longer a bottleneck. An engineer would know that. There was not one single aspect of the writing of this book. The art was beautiful. I love the art on this. I have zero complaints about the art. But as far as the writing of this comic book, the approach of it, everything, hugely disappointing. Of all the created companion books for the War of the Realms, I was most looking forward to Giant Man because I thought that the concept was fantastic. At this point, I don't even know if Miss Williams came up with a concept because this book just, for me, this book just fails on so many levels. Hugely disappointed with this. Had the highest hopes for this and just so utterly disappointed. Nothing writing style actually worked in this book for me. There were so many mistakes, so many problems with this book. Yeah. Hate giving a review like this. I really do. But I cannot find a single redeeming aspect about this entire book. Not a one. Anyway, guys, I'm done. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.